Hey up everyone! Since Christmas has just ended and it's grim and snowing outside and stuff, I just decided that I'd give you some summer magic and give you a little insight to my holiday to Malta. Some of you may know that earlier this year I went on my first ever holiday out of England to the Maltese island of Malta. Probably could have worded that better. Now this is the first time I've ever done something like this, like holiday inspired, so if it seems like I'm ripping off Jack Scab's videos, that's because I am. We began our journey by getting a lift down to Manchester at 4 AM and everything was pretty much alright. Aside from my profusely sweating palms, of course. This was my first time flying. So a lot of time passed and it was finally time to fly. I faced my fear of flying, stepped onto the plane, sat through the safety instructions and, of course, the flight was delayed. All that happened really was that someone got ill and had to be taken off the plane. As if I wasn't anxious enough already, now I had to wait another hour for what could be the last moments of my life. Maybe there's a slight chance I'm exaggerating, just a bit. After an extra hour of panicking, it was finally time to take off. In the end, I absolutely loved flying. It's so much calmer in the air than I thought it'd be, and flying above the clouds is such a surreal experience, like anything Kick the PJ has ever made. So after almost 4 hours of flying, we finally reached Malta.
So in the welcome envelopes that you've just been given, you should hopefully find some details on where and when to attend your introduction meetings tomorrow, where you'll...
As soon as we left the airport, we were both blown away by the country's architecture and visible history. Yeah, it's nice. It's f***ing boiling. Oh, and the heat, of course. The heat. Unfortunately, because we got up so bloody early, we spent most of the first day either eating or just sleeping. However, the next night, we were lucky enough to take part in one of Malta's night tours around the island. What shocked me the most was how much quieter and more still it is at night. Following the tour around the city, the bus head back to the hotel, and I'd like to say we went out clubbing and hitting all the Maltese clubs, but we stayed in and watched You've Got Mail. Pretty big party animals, you know, if I do say so myself. We eventually woke up the next day. What the f? Massive bird just flew past the window. We eventually woke up the next day and decided that it would be a good idea to look at some fish for a bit. We went to the aquarium. Plus, I got the chance to make some good friends there. Hello, friend. After an insanely intense fish viewing session, we decided to head back to the hotel because we knew that the next morning we would be visiting Gozo, or Goza, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. We woke up at like 6 in the morning, which is far too early for any human being to be awake, and got on the coach, which would take us to the boat, which would take us to Gozo. Little did we know that it would be hotter than the sun.
Сегодня будет также вечером религиозный праздник нашей Богоматери из Лоретто. Видите, сейчас как раз идет сезон фест, как красиво.
A somewhat notable part of our visit to Gozo was our visit to the Azure window. This might look a bit familiar to any Game of Thrones fans because it's actually where they shot the Dothraki wedding scene. Following that and a lot of gift shops, we visited something very old, and very old is an understatement. We went on a tour to a megalithic, I think that's pronounced right, temple in Malta named Gigantija. We visited an old temple. Now this thing is actually thought to be around 5,000 plus years old, which is actually older than the Stonehenge. Now even though the actual age of the structure was insanely old, the thing that blew me away the most was that on the walls, there were people who had carved their name in from the year 1876. While the carvings weren't actually even nearly as old as the structure, there was just something strange about the fact that someone had stood there in that exact spot 147 years ago and wrote their name on a wall to where me, future boy, was then looking at it. Now you take this visit and a lot of pool days and our abrupt time in Malta was over. For a first holiday out of the country ever, for me, it was insanely good. And if anyone's planning a holiday this year or next year, go to Malta. If you've been on a holiday and would like to recommend it and why you liked it, please feel free to comment. If you'd like to see new videos from me in the future, please subscribe. Helps a lot and it's a very nice thing to do. I'm using my hands so much today. What am I doing? Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it. New videos very soon and I will see you later. So thanks and bye.